2024 meeting of the Brisbane Planning Commission will now come to order. May I please have a roll call?
Commissioner Funka,
Present.
Commissioner Gooding,
Present.
Commissioner Lau,
Present.
Commissioner Patel,
Here.
Commissioner Saison.
Here.
Thank you. May I please ask for a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And motion passes with 5 ayes. Tonight is a public hearing. It's a public comment on the draft Guadalupe Quarry Redevelopment Project Environmental Report on 1 Quarry Road, Environmental Review 2021-ER-2. Staff, may we please have a presentation? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. My name is Kelly Beggs, and I am a contract planner for the City of Brisbane. Okay, I'm trying to get real close here. Ooh, that's good, huh? Okay. Just to reorient a little bit. So tonight is a public hearing to receive comments on the Guadalupe Quarry Redevelopment Project's draft environmental impact report, and we'll refer to that as a draft EIR throughout the presentation. City staff is joined tonight by the city's environmental consultant, Panorama Environmental. Rita Wilkie and Suzanne Heim are here from Panorama. So I'll start off the presentation with the introduction, and then I'll hand it over to the EIR consultant, to Rita Wilkie, to cover the project overview, the environmental impact report, and the public review and comment period. So we'll start by covering the purpose of tonight's meeting. The purpose of the meeting is to provide the public with an additional opportunity to provide public comments on the draft EIR. There's no action being taken on the project or on the EIR tonight, and the meeting is not intended to review the project's planning entitlements, and comments should be focused on environmental issues and analysis contained in the draft EIR. I will also note that staff and consultants are not going to be responding live to comments tonight, but rather all comments will be responded to in the final EIR. So we'll be listening and we'll be taking notes. Decision hearings will follow completion and publication of the final EIR, and at those hearings, the Planning Commission's role is to make a recommendation to City Council. So this slide shows a bit more about the purpose and the process behind CEQA. I'll start with the purpose, which is to provide information to the public and decision makers of potential environmental impacts, and then also ways to mitigate or avoid those impacts. It requires public agencies and decision makers to document and consider environmental implications of actions, and public participation is a very key part of CEQA. So the diagram on the left shows many of those public participation opportunities. So CEQA starts with the preparation and circulation of a notice of preparation. There's a 30-day period that's circulated. This project had both an initial NOP in 2022 in June, and then upon a revision had a recirculated NOP in December of 2022. There was a public scoping meeting, and then preparation of the draft EIR began. So we've now completed the preparation of that draft EIR. It was published on the 7th of this month, and it's being circulated for public review until December 6th. Following the close of the draft EIR public comment period, the consultant team in the city will prepare a final EIR, which includes responses to all of those public comments and agency comments that are received. Following publication of that final EIR, there will be a Planning Commission hearing to recommend action on the EIR and certification and the project to City Council. And then there will be a City Council hearing to act on EIR certification and project entitlements. Following that, there's a notice of determination that's filed. So this slide just shows a bit more about the basics of an EIR. So an EIR is a study of the direct and indirect effects of a project on the physical environment. Its purpose is to inform the public community and agencies of environmental impacts and ways to mitigate those impacts. And then the scope is the project's impact on the physical environment, and then it also evaluates project alternatives and cumulative impacts. And I will hand it over to the environmental consultant to go into depth about those topics.
All right, let me know if you need me to speak any louder. All right, the project, as you know, is located within unincorporated San Mateo County within the City of Brisbane's sphere of influence. The project is located on San Bruno Mountain in the existing Guadalupe Quarry. The project applicant, Orchard Partners, is proposing the Guadalupe Quarry Redevelopment Project. The project includes closure and reclamation of the existing Guadalupe Quarry, construction and operation of a 1.3 million square foot warehouse facility with associated on- and off-site modifications, including rockfall mitigation and access and utility improvements. The revegetated quarry benches and undeveloped upper slopes of the quarry would become protected open space through donation of land to San Bruno Mountain State Park and through establishment of a conservation easement. The project would require various land use entitlements and approvals, including subdivision of the quarry property, a sphere of influence amendment, and annexation of 104 acres into the City of Brisbane, general plan land use and pre-zoning designations for land that is proposed for annexation, design permit and development agreement from the city, a reclamation plan amendment, and an amendment to the San Bruno Mountain Habitat Conservation Plan, also known as an HCP. And the EIR includes additional entitlements. This list on this slide is not complete. All right. So here we have a slide of the project components. The proposed warehouse building would have a footprint of approximately 500,000 square feet with a total floor area of approximately 1.3 million square feet and a maximum height of approximately 100 feet measured from the lowest grade to the top of the parapet. The building would include warehouse and ancillary office uses on all 3 floors. The proposed warehouse building would be surrounded by parking, including a truck court and passenger vehicle parking, and a 35-foot tall, 3-level parking garage. Other associated ancillary features include improvements to site circulation, on-site utility connections, landscaping, on-site stormwater infrastructure, and lighting and security improvements. The project includes access improvements, including construction of a new secondary access road and new pedestrian and bicycle facilities. I know this slide is small. I was going to try and point out the secondary access road for you all. This is the secondary access road, and it would meet up with South Hill Drive. Approximately 82 acres of the project site outside of the project development boundary would be conserved open space. All right, now we're going to talk about the environmental impact report. The city prepared an environmental impact report pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act, also known as CEQA, to analyze physical environmental effects of the project. The EIR includes an executive summary, an introduction, a detailed project description, analysis of environmental impacts for 19 environmental resources, cumulative impact analysis, comparison of the project with 3 alternatives and the no project alternative, and a list of report preparers. These are the 19 resources that were analyzed in the EIR. Oh, this slide is, sorry, it's very small. This slide shows a list of impacts that were identified in the EIR as less than significant or no impact. A list of impacts, resource topics that were found to be less than significant with mitigation, and significant impacts that were found to be significant and unavoidable. So that means with the implementation of mitigation, those impacts under energy, greenhouse gas emissions, noise and vibration, transportation and circulation, and utilities and service systems would still remain significant. The project evaluated, or the EIR evaluated the project against 3 alternatives and the no project alternative. Each of the alternatives listed on this slide include protection of 82 acres of open space, annexation of 104 acres, and the approvals and entitlements necessary for the annexation of the property. Alternative 1 includes a reduced density warehouse. This alternative would eliminate the 3rd floor of the proposed warehouse. All of the other components, approvals, and entitlements would be the same as the project. Alternative 2 includes construction of 3 separate warehouse buildings, including using the grading plan from the existing approved quarry reclamation plan. Alternative 3 includes a combined warehouse and data center. The building would be the same that is proposed for the project, but 1 floor would be a data center instead of warehouse and office uses. The EIR also evaluated 2 scenarios for the no project alternative. The continuation of existing plan, policy, or operation considers continued mining as allowed by the existing surface mining permit. This would be an increase in mining activity relative to today's activity at the quarry. The no build scenario considers the conditions as they exist at the quarry today, which includes a reduced level of mining. Alternative 1 was determined to be the environmentally superior alternative because it results in the same significant and unavoidable impacts as the project, but the magnitude of some of the impacts would be reduced. Alternative 1 reduces environmental impacts on aesthetics, air quality, energy, greenhouse gas emissions, recreation, and utilities without increasing impacts on any other environmental resources. Now we'll talk about the public review and comment period. The EIR is available for review right now until December 6th. The EIR is available online at this website here, the city's website. There are hard copies also available for review. The hard copies are available at the planning center, or the planning counter in Brisbane City Hall, and also at the Brisbane Library. The city is accepting comments until 5 p.m. on December 6th, 2024. You'll be able to submit verbal comments here tonight, or you can submit your comments via mail or email after tonight's meeting. The addresses for email and for mail are here, and they're also available on the city's website. Tonight, you can submit verbal comments. You can submit them in this meeting by filling out a speaker card and bringing it to the staff table up here. Online attendees can also join the meeting by raising your hand to speak if you're attending via Zoom, or phone callers can press *9. Please keep comments within the set time frame. Written comments can be submitted using the comment forms that we have available tonight. You can bring those up to Suzanne and me at the table over here. You can turn in your comment tonight, or you can send that comment in after tonight's meeting. You don't have to use that comment form. You can use whatever form you like. Comments are due by December 6th. And here is a overview of the public review highlights. I know it's a little bit hard to read on this slide, but at this point, I think I'll conclude my presentation and hand it back over to the chair to initiate the public comment session.
Thank you. We will open the public hearing, and just a reminder that the comments should please focus on the draft EIR and not on the project itself. And a reminder that there won't be any deliberation or discussion by the Planning Commission on this tonight. If you wish to make a comment, encourage you to please fill out a verbal comment card, and we can do these in order. And we'll do the in-person comments first, and then followed by the Zoom or remote comments. So we can begin. There will be a time limit of 3 minutes.
3.
Because
Okay.
we have a number of comments cards present. And we can begin with Luis Reyes, please. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Luis Reyes. I'm a member of Mountain Butterfly Collective. We're a grassroots organization of conservationists and scientists that advocate for environmental stewardship on and around San Bruno Mountain. This region, including areas such as San Bruno Mountain and its surroundings, is recognized as a biodiversity hotspot here in California. It provides critical habitats for a variety of species, including endangered mission blue, San Bruno elfin, and Calliope silver spot butterfly, all included within the EIR, as well as their crucial host plants. Our natural resources are an integral part of what makes this region special, offering environmental, social, and economic benefits for the City of Brisbane. The proposed revisions to the HCP and ITP threaten to undermine these valuable assets. The proposed revisions would expand the incidental take of endangered species like the mission blue butterfly and San Bruno elfin butterfly. This allowance of greater harm or displacement is unacceptable given the fragile state of these populations. All butterfly species have shown slow recovery progress under current protections. Increasing the tolerance for habitat disturbance or destruction will hinder their already precarious survival and could push them closer to extinction. The golden violet is a host plant that is essential for the life cycle of the Calliope silver spot butterfly and is already limited in area. The proposed changes threaten the preservation and regeneration of these plants, further fragmenting critical habitat areas. It's important to note that scientists have yet to discover and successfully grow this plant and place it within the field, further harming the potential for population growth. Reducing the populations around host plants will create isolated patches that are too small to sustain healthy butterfly populations, making it harder for these species to find mates and food sources. Butterflies, including those at risk, play a critical role in local food webs, serving as pollinators and as prey for other wildlife. Weakening protections for these ecosystems will have ripple effects on other animals and plants that they rely on. To conclude, the proposed revisions of the HCP and ITP pose an existential threat to endangered butterfly species and the broader ecosystem they depend on. Weakening these protections will not only lead to species decline, but will also degrade the natural resources that provide essential benefits to our community. I urge the council to act now to protect the irreplaceable biodiversity and ensure the long-term sustainability of our natural landscapes. The one question that I have for you all is, how can you justify the asking to take for species that we cannot prove success in restoring for after 42 years of restoration efforts? Thank you.
Thank you. Just a reminder for speakers that when the yellow light appears, it's 30 seconds, and red light is moved beyond 3 minutes time frame. Thank you. Then ask for Mauricio Garcia, please.
Good evening. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to community comments and concerns. My name is Mauricio Garcia. I was born, raised, and still live in South San Francisco. I'm a Sign Hill steward and co-founder of the Mountain Butterfly Collective. I'd like to address the cumulative impacts for special status species by reading a direct quote from this draft environmental impact report, which can be found on page 428. Conversion of habitat to an urbanized environment would adversely affect sensitive plant and wildlife species, including those species listed under federal and state endangered species acts, and species identified by state and federal resources as agencies as species of concern, fully protected or sensitive. Although more mobile species might be able to survive continuing habitat loss by moving to new areas, movement corridors are limited, and less mobile species could be lost with remaining habitats limited to preservation areas such as San Bruno Mountain. As a result, the availability and accessibility of remaining natural habitats would dwindle, and smaller remaining natural areas, such as disjunct habitat areas preserved within development sites, may not be able to support additional plant or animal populations at their current carrying capacities. Thank you for bearing with me with that. Why do the mitigations proposed to remedy the harm to threatened and native species not appear to be oriented towards the long-term preservation of species? Allowing animals to remain in their roosts until they migrate for the season doesn't change the fact that that habitat will no longer exist the next year or the year after that. And that's really only one example. Louise provided many excellent others. According to the 2024 Living Planet report released by the World Wildlife Fund exactly 2 weeks ago today, literally titled A System Imperiled, there has been a 73% decline in wildlife populations since 1970. To quote their chief scientist, Rebecca Shaw, it really does indicate to us that the fabric of nature is unraveling. If relevant parties have not proven success in restoring protected species after 42 years of efforts, how is implementing more take for those species justified? This seems to be nothing short of knowingly shrinking critically endangered habitat species permanently for cash flow. Furthermore, with the San Bruno Mountain Habitat Conservation Plan being the first ever written, this sets a terrible precedent that will have a domino effect for HCPs across the state and the country. Is this being taken into consideration? What effective permanent measures are going to be taken to protect the biodiversity and endangered species present in the Guadalupe Quarry that so many generations of local residents have fought to protect and continue to work to protect? Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you. Next, Ms. Tara Friedman.
Thank you so much for listening to the public comments. My name is Tara Friedman. I've been trying to save San Bruno Mountain since I was 7 years old. And also I'm part of the Mountain Butterfly Collective to continue our vision of saving the special and unique habitats and species of San Bruno Mountain. The Mountain Butterfly Collective has many questions about the EIR and the Transportation Center. And one of them is natural resources around the globe are diminishing at alarming rates. The environmental plan that you have does not state it will help the habitat but harm it. What more can you do to prevent permanent replacement of birds, butterflies, and plants? An example, how can you call moving or replanting host plants from the 4 endangered butterflies not a significant impact? Butterflies will not move to new locations to follow the replanting or moving of host plants. And where are those host plants going? Plus, the golden Johnny Jumpa viola for the Calliope silver spot has not been successfully replanted or moved. The lights, sound, and noise of the 3-story building, 100-foot high, will disrupt the butterfly mating habits. Hilltopping is almost always overwhelmingly male butterflies based on the top of San Bruno Mountain summit. Often the host plants are not present at the hilltop, so the females that come up there to mate have to go below the summit to lay their eggs. This project is in a major female butterfly habitat that has been studied and researched with data since the 1980s. Since your EIR covers so many aspects for the quarry, why are you writing a new HCP for all of San Bruno Mountain and not just for the quarry? Your focus should be on writing the new HCP just for the quarry area. What is the purpose, the proposed Quarry Road primary access route that differs from the Quarry Road that now exists? It is not clear in the figure on page 675. How much habitat will be lost through the proposed 2 widening quarry roads, the secondary road from the South Air Drive to the warehouse and the sidewalks, and the fire safety areas? Why build roads and sidewalks in zone priority 1 and 2 that has been the most sensitive habitat? Is the winding road area part of Brisbane, San Mateo Park, or the Fish and Game? Also, on page 679 of the draft. Who in the city, oh, do I need to stop? I'm almost done. Oh, stop? Okay, my last, okay, I'll stop. But taking away disrupting habitat for the take money does not make a better habitat. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Michelle Salmon?
Michelle Salmon, Brisbane resident. Thank you for your service, by the way. This is the draft EIR, printed on both sides, 839 pages that need to be reviewed. And the accompanying appendices, which are extremely important because everything in here directly refers to that, is another 3,274 pages. We're already down 18 days out of 60. And it seems to be a habit with this project to make sure that they give us something we have to work on during a holiday. The first was the notice of preparation, June 16th, 2022 to July 18th, 2022, over the 4th of July holiday. And then they put out the revised notice of preparation on December 15th, 2022, due January 16th, 2023, with not only Christmas, New Year's, and New Year's and Christmas were both on a Sunday that day, so there was Mondays missing, and all the other holidays that happened. And people just didn't even look hardly at the revised notice of preparation. And this was put out October 7th, which really didn't count because we didn't know until the afternoon, and it's due on December 6th during the Thanksgiving holiday, in which at least one city staffer will be gone for vacation, and 2 other holidays, Indigenous Peoples' Day and Veterans Day, plus the election. And I just think that this is a habit of this project to give us not enough time to review several thousand pages of documents that will impact the rest of our lives here in Brisbane. This is a really important document. And one of the things that I had discussed numerous times with the applicant was hours of operation. So of course, as soon as I got this, I went straight to hours of operation. It's section 2.8.2, hours of operation, right? And it says, warehouse operations may occur between 5 a.m. and 10 p.m., 7 days a week, depending on the final tenant. How much more ambiguous can you get? And that's just one sentence in, over 4,000 pages of documentation that we're supposed to review in what's now less than 45 days because we've already gone through 18 days. So what I'm asking for is to extend the period for review to at least 120 days. That's a reasonable amount of time. It takes us through the holidays. There's a lot here to review. We divvied it up, but I intend to read the entire thing because this is really important. Thank you. And so that's what I have to say tonight, rather than telling you about the butterflies. Thank you.
Thank you.
Through the chair, I just want to note we're having a problem with our warning light. So the warning light is not coming on, so the full speaking time will be 3 minutes, and then the red light will go on. But we apologize. We'll keep trying to figure it out.
Thank you. Noticed that. But thank you for everyone respecting the time limit. Next, Alma Linda Salmon.
I was once in your place for the 94 general plan. It was not fun. The Northeast Ridge deal, we received a promise to grant the houses on the ridge, that the first house being built, the quarry would be shut down and returned to habitat definitely all habitat by 2014. Unfortunately, I was kicked out of town in 2012, so I wasn't here to see it through. Apparently, they decided they wanted us to buy the land. And Mountain Watch made an offer, which was refused. I don't know what has happened since, but this is an abomination as far as I'm concerned. First of all, I just finally got the whole 900, almost 900 pages of the EIR, and a quick glance at it, looking at the water resources. And apparently no one bothered to give the EIR people the data from when the EIR was done, when they wanted to put quarry housing up here, and the amount of fresh spring water from the spring that's in the quarry that looks like it's going to be in the back of this building that you are proposing, not you, but it is being proposed, okay? About the amount of water that's currently being flushed down into the bay. Fresh spring water, which happens to be enough water that would serve all of Brisbane, for that matter. That's a big issue. And it was just wiped over like, oh, it's rainwater. It's nothing. It's garbage. It's not true. Absolutely not true. We'll get into that. And then the other thing that I noticed offhand was in terms of tribal input, there was no contact with the Ohlone people, only that, oh, the Ohlone people don't exist anymore. And the one contact that was made is the agency that refuses to recognize the Ohlone people as existing. And this is what's been going on, of course, in this country for a long time. Native people, they don't exist anymore. We got rid of all the Indians, you know? There's nobody else here left and I'm sorry, the Ohlone people are getting territory right, left, and center all over the East Bay and South Bay, particularly when it comes to water rights. And that's an area that's going to have to be addressed before this even goes any further. And I agree with my sister that we all need more time, much more time. This is ridiculous. I mean, I don't even have the appendices. I mean, I was enough to just get the whole 9 yards of the EIR. And then the amount of appendices that one has to look at to see what else is going on, which is, I mean, this is just my first jump at it. So I would ask, again, more time. We're going to need a lot more time to go through this piece by piece. What they're proposing right now is an abomination, and it is not what was promised us to allow the desecration on the Northeast Ridge that we already have. And now, and speaking of the Northeast Ridge, those people are not going to want to see what's going to happen there. Believe me. And most of them don't even know about this yet.
Thank you. Next is Del Shambari?
Shambari, yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Former Mountain Watch member, current member of the Mountain Butterfly Collective. I'll get in as many questions as I can before my time is up. I just wanted to point out that I think there's a new something called the COP Biodiversity Conference in Colombia, and that's how to preserve endangered species around the world. And we got 4 right around this quarry, and I don't think it's going to go well if this development is built. My main point tonight is that, like, no matter which alternative is approved, if any, they exceed the greenhouse gas level of the Bay Area Regional Management District. And also, you know, there might be traffic like from 5 in the morning to 10 at night. It's going to go right near your middle school. It's going to go right near thousands of housing units and the other residents of the industrial park. And previously, getting back to endangered species, the bay checker spot was deleted from the mountain. It became extinct because of the interaction between fumes from cars and the way they interact with the plants, and it caused them to be extinct. They were reintroduced 3-4 years ago, and so if we put this amount of traffic back, I don't think it looks very good for those butterflies. So my other question, is the reason, what are the actual reasons for the HCP? I mean, for the vote on this by the council? I know it's probably the HCP change and new roads through county property. There's going to be, what, two-lane roads coming out of the quarry after this. And I want to know what are the other reasons. Yeah, I'm wondering what, on the HCP, whether they just want to clean up missing pieces of the previous HCP, like they wanted to relist the monarch butterfly and the bay checker spot that was not put in because it was extinct the last time they did it, and it was recently introduced. So that's pretty much all I have to say. With my other comments, I'll just write them in and give them to you. I have our leaflet, if you haven't got one already, that Mountain Butterfly Collective put out, and I'll give it to the city clerk for you.
Thank you. You could. Thank you. Denise Gregory.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Denise Gregory, and I've lived around San Bruno Mountain my entire life. San Bruno Mountain is a unique and diverse ecosystem. Aside from the butterflies, which are extraordinarily important, the whole ecosystem, including plants, animals, birds, fungi, everything is all interwoven, interconnected, all a network that's integral to each and every one of the species that already inhabits San Bruno Mountain. Feeling emotional right now. That is a part of our support system as humans. The lights, the vibration, the pollution, they're talking about indoor garage with approximately 700 cars, outdoor garage uncovered, approximately 700 cars, and I can't remember how many bays for these huge trucks. And they want to be running these trucks in and out to build this 1.3 million square foot building and all the added stuff to it. And it's going to be a lot of pollution that's going to affect everything on the mountain, including us humans too. And light pollution, vibration is just too much. It doesn't make any sense. We're going in the wrong direction, and that's all I have to say. And thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. Lori Liu.
Good evening, Honorable Chair and Planning Commissioners. My husband and I own a home at the Ridge in Brisbane. We've raised our family here, and our house has a direct view of the quarry. I have been following the quarry site for many years. As some of you know, I served as mayor and council member, and during that time, I was on the Economic Development Subcommittee, where we received numerous proposals for potential projects at the site. I understand the economic difficulty of developing a former quarry site and that it will require a reclamation plan, which must be economically feasible to the developer to move forward. I am no stranger to the quarry, as one of my first acts of community engagement was to work on the measure to defeat the residential proposal at the quarry. And yet, I am not opposed to all development at the quarry. I believe that there is potential to have a commercial project that fits within the backdrop of the mountain, provides economic revenue to the city, and at the same time restores the site. My biggest concerns are the noise and light impacts, especially to the residential community at the Ridge. Most of Brisbane, at least at the Ridge, does not seem to show much interest in what is going on at the quarry, since the majority of Brisbane lives on the other side of central Brisbane. However, the biggest potential impact to the Ridge is to the Ridge and to the residents who live there. Professionally, I am an attorney and I currently practice municipal law, representing local government agencies with an expertise in land use and other matters. I speak here tonight in my personal capacity. Given my heavy workload, I have not yet had a chance to thoroughly review the draft EIR, but in my preliminary review, I note that noise was identified as a significant unavoidable impact, and that the city's general plan contains specific policies regarding minimizing unwarranted and intrusive noise. In addition, the city's municipal code contains certain performance standards for noise control. The draft EIR states that this project would cause significant impact from construction or operation, resulting in noise levels that exceed the DBA thresholds. Yet despite these impacts, the report states that no mitigation is required. I urge the city to carefully review the noise study and the noise section of the draft EIR to determine if there is any mitigation that can be established to address the noise impacts, or if there are any alternatives to the project that would be preferable and reduce the environmental impacts, such as the reduced density warehouse. In addition to noise, I'm concerned about the light pollution from the project, including from construction and operations. This may impact the biological resources and aesthetics. I remind the Commission that earlier this year, the city adopted a dark sky ordinance to reduce nighttime light pollution and promote wildlife habitation. I am concerned not just with respect to the habitat, but most importantly to the residents that live on the Ridge. Light pollution can have a significant detrimental impact on health, and I urge the city to study this if it has not already done so. I hope to more carefully review the draft EIR and submit written comments. In the interim, I thank you for considering my comments at this time regarding the impacts of noise and light to the Brisbane community. Thank you.
Thank you. Sean Haybird.
Good evening. I'm Sean Hebard. I'm representing the NorCal Carpenters Regional Council at 37,000 members across the region and over 2,000 here in San Mateo County. We're here in support of the project and the current EIR as it stands. I think one of the things that hasn't been mentioned is that the reuse of the quarry is actually taking a quarry and creating a significant increase in the protected habitat for the butterflies where there is none now. And this project, I think, is a significant project for the community of Brisbane. And we feel that while there are some concerns environmentally that need to be mitigated, we feel that there's an overriding consideration of the quality jobs that this developer has committed to providing the community by using a signatory contractor. Often, all too often, we're faced with conditions where we have all or nothing. In this particular case, we have the opportunity to expand the protected habitat for the butterflies and create a job center for the region and those good, well-paying jobs with benefits and apprenticeship and retirement and dignity for our members that would be building this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Edward Evans.
Good evening, Chair and City and Planning Commission. My name is Edward Evans, and I am the Senior Field Agent at Carpenters Local 217, which is part of the same regional council that Mr. Hebard, my colleague, spoke of. As he mentioned, there are 1,600 to 2,000 members that reside here in San Mateo County, live and work here in the county. What we want to point out is, as a result of the current relationships that we have with the developer and their chosen general contractor, we feel that extremely confident that the construction phase mitigation measures will be successfully implemented and that the project's construction will benefit the local community and working people. Additionally, for unavoidable significant environmental impacts, Local 217 stands ready and willing to assist the city with articulating strong overriding considerations relating to our organization's commitment to the project. By partnering with our union, the city and this project is, by extension, partnering with the largest labor management apprenticeship program in Northern California, where over 75% of our current apprentices are from minority backgrounds. We also partner with community benefit organizations throughout San Mateo County, including, most locally, the Jefferson Union High School District. We have an arrangement with the wood shop there where we provide curriculum for the students to actually learn a craft in high school, kind of like they used to do it when I went to high school. But it's coming back, which is good to see. And I'm just going to wrap it up by saying, you know, I know that the quarry, the way it's dug out of the mountain, it's not pretty, but there is a lot of hidden equity in that rock. I'm aware of the fact that I believe that most of Brisbane's students have to go to Daly City, to the Jefferson Union High School District to go to high school. And I have friends from Brisbane who have talked at length about how nice it would be if Brisbane had its own high school, you know, something to the scale of the town. And you know, the revenue, the jobs that this will create, the revenue to the city that this will give, could help something like that in the future become a reality. And again, I'm just going to wrap it up by saying thank you for letting us comment. We look forward to being a partner in this great project and supporting the city of Brisbane. Thank you very much.
Thank you. David Shuley.
I'm David Schooley. In 1906 to 1960, the garbage at the base of San Bruno Mountain floated back over this incredible mountain, and that stopped growth. People began not building along that mountain. It's a small town of Brisbane. So this immense move at the base of the mountain left a rare and endangered survival of 22 rare plants and animals on San Bruno Mountain. Incredible continuation for those many years. One of the most incredible areas is the elfin butterfly, which is all over the upper part of the quarry benches. By itself, one of the rare species on the mountain quadrupled itself on the incredible quarry disaster. It's like an inside-outside move all around of us. And in that quarry, and for all of us and all of our moves on San Bruno Mountain, there should be no more building or destruction of any kind of damage on that mountain. And the quarry itself has been a miracle survival in the benches below. But the lower portion of this place should be, the quarry should turn itself into a botanical garden. There's a famous place in Canada where a place that was a quarry became a botanical garden. So that's our hope. This can happen. In the city of Brisbane, many years ago, went for a public vote about the quarry. No housing. The people said no housing. And here we are now facing a major use of that quarry where it could be a healing gift for all of us. there may be a consideration now. People are now going door to door about the care of the quarry to the people in town. And there's a possibility of consideration of a vote for any growth on that mountain. Anyway, thanks very much.
Thank you. And Storis Horn, I'm sorry, Hohen? Apologize.
Hi, I'm Storis Hohen, Brisbane resident. That I also haven't had a chance to read all these 800 pages, but I just wanted to call up some significant concerns that I have concerning the HCP and safety, exactly how they would stabilize the quarry, that there are pictures of a simple steel fence, but it looks like that was taken from something which had much less height than our quarry. And I'm very concerned about the noise, that the noise study that was, as far as I saw in this EIR, looked at average noise over a day, but the operation is between 7 until 10 at night. And that really should look at what are noise levels when people are trying to go to sleep in the Northeast Ridge, in those evening hours. And if it is 45 dB that the quarry, the freight forwarding would contribute during those hours, that would certainly affect people that are trying to go to sleep. It's a lot of noise. And then the question for alternatives, why, it seems like we have a lot of open freight forwarding in Crocker Business Park. We're not fully utilized here. Why are we putting additional freight forwarding in another place? And then with the push for additional housing, should we reopen the possibility of housing here? You know, I know that Brisbane made a decision on this 17 years ago, but perhaps we in the Northeast Ridge would prefer housing over an industrial use. And I think that is all I wanted to try to cover tonight as I start to dive into this. But I really do think we need a finer analysis of the noise, certainly, rather than an average over the day. Thank you.
Thank you. That concluded the speaker cards. Were there any other members in the audience that would like to speak? If you'd like to, can you please submit a card, please? Thank you. Certainly. We should probably, sure.
Sorry, I got excited when I saw the red light and stopped. But one of the important things I wanted to say is that I did a quick scan, you know, a Control F find just on the 840 pages, and the word unavoidable came up 60 times. And the word significant came up 1,095 times in those 840 pages. And when I talked about the length of the appendices, the longest appendix was hazards at 1,340 pages. So this should give you some indication of the problem. And Storrs is right about the sound, because although it says in 2.8.2, hours of operation, 5 a.m. to 10 p.m., maybe. it's really going to be 24/7. And we hear things that go on in Crocker Industrial Park in Brisbane because of the way sound is amplified and the unique situation we have with sound here in Brisbane. So thank you.
Thank you. Paul Buscal?
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. Paul Buscal, Brisbane resident. So I was on the committee for the draft environmental impact report for the Baylands, and I'm looking forward to submitting my comments by the 6th of December. And I do agree with other speakers that it should be extended, have more time to be able to review such critical information. One thing that I did note early on when I was reviewing part of the draft environmental impact report is it made the comment that they're going to be able to provide access to existing trail systems with the quarry development. And I will say that I think the nearest designated trail on the mountain would be the Ridge Trail. And so I'm not quite sure what they meant when they said they would be able to provide access to existing trails on the mountain. I mean, there are lots of trails on the mountain, but I think they would be referring to designated trails in the county park system. They also mentioned that the acreage would be put into open space in the state park, and the state doesn't have any, the area is not within the state park, it's within the county park. The state has a small area on San Bruno Mountain, is why it's a state and county park. So that might be want to be checked. But one thing I wanted to bring up, back when the housing development was being proposed, I had members from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, California Fish and Wildlife Service, Army Corps of Engineers, city engineers, county engineers, and county parks people at the base of Owl Canyon. And I was talking about recreating red-legged frog habitat there, and they were very interested in this. And that has to do with water quality and hydrology. And I would like to see a sediment basin at the foot of the quarry if it's developed, and that could catch where equipment could go in and work on the sediment, and then catching affluents with a bioswale, vegetated bioswale, and then of course the red-legged frog habitat in the base of Owl Canyon, which historically this valley industrial park was one of the largest red-legged frog habitats in the entire Bay Area. And so the red-legged frog is our state amphibian. It's federally protected, so is the San Francisco garter snake, which could also be reintroduced. Those projects have been successfully done at San Andreas Reservoir in San Bruno, part of the SFPUC. So I would like to see that looked at. And I just want to close by saying that I had an engineer company draw out a plan on what this whole site could look like for this habitat. So I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Were there any other comments from the public that are in the room? Otherwise, we'll turn to Zoom.
Okay, I do have one hand raised in the Zoom. Do you want to let people know how they can participate? Yes. Okay.
So remote comments may be called in by calling the teleconference number 1-669-900-9128 and pressing *9 on their phone. Or by participants on the Zoom webinar by pressing the raise hand button to indicate to the staff that they would like to make verbal comments.
Okay, great. So I do have a hand up from Scott Beal. I'm going to allow Scott to talk, and I'm going to display a timer for him to look at on the Zoom.
Thank you.
Hello.
Scott, okay.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Hello. Hello, my name is Scott. I'm a business agent for the Plumbers Union and a representative for the San Mateo County Building Trades. I'm speaking tonight representing a few thousand skilled tradespeople, electricians, plumbers, sheet metal workers, sprinkler fitters, and iron workers who live and work in San Mateo County, including families right there in Brisbane. Though my comments may seem slightly outside the scope of the draft EIR discussion tonight, I believe they are very relevant when we consider the broader context of sustainability. This developer has chosen a high road construction model, which means the local union workforce, including members of UA Local 467, my union, will be building this project. That decision matters. The construction industry is one of the largest producers of greenhouse gas emissions, often due to workers commuting long distances to job sites. That won't be the case here. The workers on this project will be local, your neighbors. Additionally, this project will include apprentices from various trades, all currently being trained in the latest technologies that are crucial for decarbonizing our environment. We cannot achieve the sustainable future we aim for without a new generation of highly trained construction workers. They are vital to reducing our carbon footprint through their expertise and innovation. So as you weigh the positives and negatives of this project, I urge you to consider the economic, social, and environmental benefits that come from partnering with a developer committed to doing the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have
we
no
a
more.
time limit on Zoom participation of.
We did. It may not display on the screen here, but it displayed on the Zoom. I have no more hands presently. There are other people in the webinar. So again, you may select raise hand if you want to address the commission, or press *9 if you're calling in on the phone.
Otherwise, is there like a 30-second or minute?
Yeah, if you'd like to put a time limit for
30
folks in the Zoom,
seconds. Yeah.
sure.
Thank you.
30 seconds?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm going to start a timer now. So last call. Okay, 30 seconds has passed. I have no more raised hands in the Zoom.
Okay. May I request a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Motion passes with 5 ayes. Just a reminder that you all, apologize. Thank you all for coming and speaking. Just a reminder that a public comment period will run through December 6th at 5 p.m. Written comments can be mailed to the city or emailed to quarry@brisbaneca.org. More information on the project, the draft EIR, and how to comment on the draft EIR can be found at the city's website at www.brisbaneca.org/quarry. All comments will be responded to in the final EIR. The final EIR will be reviewed at future public hearings along with the project's planning entitlement applications. And to be notified of future meetings, can sign up for e-notifications on the city's website or write their email address down on the e-notification sign-up sheet in the foyer. Thank you.
Through the chair, I have a question, or if staff can answer. There are a couple comments asking us whether we could extend the review process. Is that something we take up later, or?
That's an administrative decision. It's been made. We'll discuss it with the city manager. And if it is extended, notice would be provided to everybody.
Would there need to be a recommendation from the commission or
No, we don't.
Okay. With that, let's move to the consent calendar. Are there any members of the public that would like to pull an item from the consent calendar? Staff, we can please post the Zoom call number on the screen.
Through the chair, if you mind pausing for just a second, we seem to have lost one of our feeds, so hold on. Okay, thank you for your patience. I see we're back. I will post the number on the screen in just a moment.
Thank you. Any members of the public watching remotely can call the teleconference number within the next 30 seconds. And if they wish to pull an item from the consent calendar, to please raise their hand by pressing the raise hand button or pressing *9 on their phone if they've called in.
I'll need just about 30 more seconds to post that number.
Great. While we wait, are there any of the fellow commissioners, would they like to remove any item from the consent calendar? No. Thank you.
Okay, I'm starting a 30-second clock now. All right, 30 seconds has passed, and I have no hands.
All right, thank you. Since there's no one has wished to remove an item, can I ask for a motion to adopt the consent calendar as presented?
So moved. I'll second.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes with 5 ayes. Now we'll move on to oral communications. Is there anyone who wishes to address the commission for items that are not on tonight's agenda? Yes. If you could please. State
Michelle Salmon. It's come to my attention recently that 2 houses at the Northeast Ridge have been allowed to enclose their courtyard, thus adding to the square footage of their house. And it's my understanding that that is against the CCNRs and the development agreement for the Northeast Ridge. And we had stopped that happening once many years ago, a property that wanted to change and add onto their house. And that is not allowed according to the development agreement and the CCNRs. And I want to make sure that we follow the CCNRs and the development agreement that was made with the Northeast Ridge. And I was very distressed to find out that that was done, I guess, by a zoning administrator or by some other form besides coming before the Planning Commission. It shouldn't even come before the Planning Commission because it should be a non-issue. And so I really want to raise this, that this is a planned development that had very strict rules in accordance with the HCP. We fought to have open fencing where one person was not doing that correctly. And the other part that I'm really also concerned about was part of the agreement was that the Clippy Hill would be put into the park, part of San Mateo County, San Bruno Mountain Park. And that hasn't yet happened either, and it's been 12 years. And that was supposed to happen as soon as the last house was, available for occupation. And that concerns me greatly. And these are things that were left undone and need to be addressed. And it concerns me as well on this project because they're talking about, oh, and they're going to give all this land for public space. But there's no guarantee that the county will take it as part of the park because it's extremely dangerous area that needs to be secured and made safe. Those benches are 90 feet in between benches and they're cliffs. I almost fell off one, I will admit, in a high wind when I was up there. And so that sounds nice that they're going to donate all this land to the public, but there really is, they're letting go of responsibility for taking care of it to make sure that it's safe, that you can't just fall off the top of the mountain and down into the quarry, because that's kind of what can happen right now. And so, you know, we make development agreements and when we have CNRs and deed restrictions, and then it doesn't happen. And I find that greatly concerning. And the Planning Commission is very vital, the work that you do. And I feel that this should have come at least before you, let alone having this just made as some kind of administrative, yeah, sure, add on to your house. It's very delicate up there because it's not built on solid ground, it's landfill. Don't ever kid yourself that the Northeast Ridge development is not on landfill. Okay, thank you so much. And please, if you can look into that, I would appreciate it.
Thank you for bringing those concerns. That concludes oral communications.
Yeah, I have no hands in the Zoom.
Move on to written communications, if there are any written communications to the commission. There weren't any additional, sorry, apologize, there weren't any written communication. Apologize, that's my fault for turning the mic off. We'll go to old business, which are none, and any items initiated by the staff.
Not this evening.
Okay. Any items initiated by the commission? No. Otherwise, okay. Then we are adjourned to the next regular meeting of November
14th.
November 14th, 2024. Thank you.